We are going to play a little bit of DTO this afternoon. I am going to do a single raise pot spot because I personally find that they play the most like that they play in game. So I feel like you get a lot of value from them. So which one are we going to do? We are going to look around and I want to do like 60 big blinds, single raise pot. But as you can see here, right, you've got 3-bet spots, heads up spots, ICM spots, limp spots. There's a bunch of new stuff coming out all of the time. So this is big blind versus cutoff, 60 big blinds. We've only played 10 hands of this. I think that would be a fun one to do. Let's put it here so everybody knows exactly which spot we're playing. But it is on the screen as well. But 60 big blinds, single raise pot. Big blind versus, let's do this. Big blind versus cutoff. What do you think? I think that looks good. I like it. Now, do we want it to be exactly there? It seems good to me, to be honest. We have a sub coming in from Joshua. Thank you very much. Hi, Dad. This month's payment coming. Let's just move it along. All right, so we're in the big blind for facing a single raise pot. Now, I haven't played this spot in a long time. Versus the cutoff, we've ace-3 against 25%. We've backdoor straight draw, we've backdoor flush draw. It might be too tight to fold, right? This could be too tight to fold. Alright, it looks like it was too tight to fold. I think there will be some leading on this turn card, but I'm not sure if this is the hand to do it with. Now, the question is whether we should bluff. And you know what? When they check back the turn, and we have the ace of diamonds, I kind of like it. So the question is what size we want to do it, and I'm in for 130%. The problem with going 130% is we can't bet a king. So maybe we want to bet 74. What's the worst hand I bet here? King 10? Probably, because I'm not going to bet king 6 or king 5 for that size. So one of these two. I'm going to go with 130. And it looks like we played it quite well. We got called by 2 10s, no diamond. Alright, so there's a new range explorer. Oh my god, what happened to my mic? Oh my days. Oh my days. I just hit it. So we have, you can now view the ranges for your actions by clicking on the actions from the evaluation. To view the ranges for the DTO bot, you click on the DTO actions in the log. You can now switch between ranges from different nodes directly in the range viewer. Simply click on the last action in the header to quickly switch between all possible betting or checking options. You can use the left, right arrow keyboards. Alright, well, I'm just an old man, so it's actually really nice to know that you can look what you do. So, would it be over here? DTO bets. Oh my god, that is a lovely addition. Because sometimes I wanted to know what the bot needed to be up to and you couldn't. So I think that's brand new, right? So as you can see, we don't get the fold. Oh, sorry. This is obviously we're checking out a position. Flop's a mix, right? It felt close, right? I nearly folded, I'm not going to lie. But I didn't want to be nitty on the first hand of the bot and get it wrong. But like, as you can see here, the region that we're all calling, it's just so easy to consume this information and such a great way to learn, I think. And do it. This is just a different way to look at the range. But anyway, as you can see, we continue on the flop, and a lot of hands continuing. We don't pure fold any ace highs versus 25%. I think that makes sense. Obviously, you never ever dream of folding anything with a backdoor flush draw, right? What? The reason that these, I guess, are this is because they're going to raise sometimes. It's not because we're going to fold. Like these are going to mix in raises, as you see here. Like you're never folding an ace high backdoor flush draw. So anyway, pretty standard hand. The river sizing, it prefers my size. 74% is a little bit of a thing, but I would imagine that this has like the king X hands we were talking about, and that's why I was saying like to bet the size I want to, you want to still be able to bet one pair, and that's what you'll usually do with the 70% because when the backdoor flush draw comes in, it's not strong enough to overbet a king. If the backdoor flush draw bricked, then we definitely could. Alright, so we're pocket trees, big blinds. We're going to check. I'm going to fold against this. If I had a spade, I'd call. And if they bet smaller, I'd call. But with 3 to a straight, this might be too tight. Okay, it's okay. It's just when they bet that size. So I just want to like examine what hands do they bet here. So they're using the size actually quite a lot. on this board. As you can see, there's a reasonable amount of density around the top pair. Like ace jack's almost pure large bet, ace jack pure. Then you've got king jack, queen jack, and then the overpairs are very efficient as large bets. And then of course, like we want some duplication by using hands like king queen and stuff. So yeah, I think it's pretty intuitive. On this board, we're just going to bet small. We are now in position, of course. I think we could bet this turn sometimes when the spades or the clubs come in. I don't think it's going to be pure, so we are going to check. And I think we have to bet the river. So what size do we want to bet? What are we trying to make fold? What do we want to be able to value bet? When we check back the turn, we don't have a lot of queens. We will have some queens, but I honestly just think like 50% is an appropriate bet size. They'll fold some king nine of diamonds, some ace highs will be indifferent. So I'm pretty happy using that size. We do get called by deuces. It does like the 100% or the 50%, which is fine. I think like we are gonna occasionally have a queen as we can check out the line again on the river. Like what are we betting the 50% with? Like we do have some queens that check back the turn, right? But the reason we're going to want to bet 50% because we can't just always bet, but there is going to be a lot of 100% with the queen X, which I think is pretty standard. Jacks obviously are feeling pretty confident of being the best hand because, you know, they didn't check raise, they didn't bet the river. So good start. I'm going to bet. Would not be surprised if this could slide into a check from time to time. Yeah, from time to time, a little bit, but I think standard to just bet small. Interesting. I'm gonna check. I think this board's a board that we're gonna mix with some large sizings for sure. So, oh, okay, can't check. All right, we do mix large sizings, but we don't check this one. So I thought we would have some checking on this board. Not a lot, eh? Not a lot on 10-7 deuce. Maybe if it was more like 10-7-6, but I don't think it's going to be a huge EV difference to check here on 10-7 deuce. But as you can see, mostly betting and mixing. Like if I had ace of spades, is there much of a preference? No, sorry. Yeah, see, like if I had ace of spades, I always would have bet. And as you can see, it's betting 97% of the time, just because you can put in a lot more chips in down the line. But first one we've got wrong. I'm devastated. This is just going to be small bet, I'm pretty sure. I don't think we can get 3 streets, so we're going to check back and value bet or call the river ourselves. It might be worth 100%, but I'm going for 50. Damn it. Oh, it's pure check. Wow. Well, I guess it wasn't worth 100%. I would not check that in game after checking the turn. What are we bluffing with? A lot of queen jacks without a spade. Jack tens with or without. Like, I just feel like we have a lot of bluffs that we probably want to value bet a 6 ice flush, but I guess the 3 and the deuce were on the board, which changes it. Alright, so we're going to check. And against this size, I think it's a fold. Alright, let's not get any more wrong. We want 10 in a row. See, I always used to call this, but I think it's actually a fold without the backdoor flush draw. I'm not going to fold it, but I won't. I would call this in game, but I feel like when I look at sims, they usually fold without the backdoor flush draw sometimes. We are going to check. If they check back, we are going to be betting the river always. So, question now is, what size do we want to bet? Against the larger bet size, we're definitely going to scale down on the amount of times that we check raise. Therefore, we still have a lot of queen X. I don't think we want to bet worse than a queen when they pot and check back. No, it might be true. We could probably have a block bet here as well. But so what are we actually targeting? We're not targeting very many strong hands. Maybe the block bet's the most efficient. Because when they pot the flop, basically, and then check the turn, their hands become very weak. But they're pretty capped as well, so sometimes I want to bet big. Like if I had a 4 here, I'd want to bet large. It just feels... The reason I don't like 25% is because like my hands that I want to value bet all feel worth more than 25% of the pot. But if we're trying to drive in money from ace highs, where do we draw the line? I'm just gonna go for half. Yeah, okay, so it's 100% they're all in because they're so capped. 100% or all in because they're so capped. All right, where are we at on our percentage here? 72%, the best is 87. It looks like we're going to struggle to get up there. But, all right. All good. It's just going to be small bet. We got check raise, we call. Okay, likes checking here. That makes sense to a degree, but I would just bet it mostly in game because I think in game people will fold a lot more than a bot is going to. Don't get the folded pair, even though I'm very uncomfortable already. I'm gonna lead. I think there should be some leading on this turn card. I'm not 100% sure if my hand class wants to do it, but if I can, like, you know, get some protection or just find folds from 2 overs, I think it's nice. So in game, I would 100% fold here because people do not raise correctly. Against the bot, can I really fold when I have a pair and a good shot? Probably not. And then we will check fold. I want to see if there's any folding on that turn. As you can see, it does like leading a little bit, but mostly checking. But no, you never get to fold. In game, I would fold because people are just too tight there. But I understand it against the bot that we can't. This is an easy fold. This isn't worth talking about. Not at all. This one is going to be a check call. I wonder if we mix the 9 check raises at this against this size. I'm not going to, but it'll be interesting. It's not something that I do. So because they've had 25%, they are not they're not incapable of having a 7, right? So I actually prefer check raising than betting, and now we are going to just overbet. So they're repping pocket 9s. The pocket 9s only. They're repping pocket 9s and pocket 9s only. In game, I would 100% fold here. So we got to think about how our range looks when we check all the flop. We still have a lot of hands that are air, that can overbet the river because they're so capped. How much do I need to pay to call? I think that's something that should be here. I think they should add that as well. I'm gonna give that as a little bit of feedback. I think they should show how many chips you need to call so you can work out the pot odds easier rather than having to do it. Probably got to call like 30% of the time or something, right? Or am I being an idiot? There's way more than that. Oh. Alright, we call against the bot. We call against the bot. They do have the pocket 9s. They obviously don't fold. Alright. Alright. Here's the thing, right? In theory, I can understand why it's not going to be a fold. I get it. But in practice, it is almost always going to be a call. But yeah, I don't know. All right, we move on. We don't fret it too much. We will be check raising this board. I don't think we want to check raise the larger size. Just think it's pure this size, right? Oh, they do mix it in. I would never have a 5x raise in game. It's not something I really do. So that's something that I should really be looking at and seeing where did they pull this 5x raise in size from. So ace jack, ace 10, I would raise, but not that size. I just wouldn't. Over here, we're using some 2x as bluffs with the duplication of the flop straight, which makes sense. 7-5 is a double gutter. Does have a slight preference for a backdoor flush draw, as you can see, which again, when you start check raising and putting more chips in the middle, some people, like myself included, when the way I used to think about it was like, oh, you don't want to check raise the backdoor flush draw because you can take more heat on turns, but reality is when chips start going in, you want to have a way of beating like ace high better, right? And if you have a backdoor flush draw as well as your double gut shot, you have an opportunity to make a flush as well, which is another way to win. So that's kind of why that happens, but yeah, okay. I don't ever use that bigger size. I don't really see it in game all that much. Ace, 8, 7. I think we're meant to use this size a lot, but it just feels like with this hand I don't want to. So does it like the bigger size? Nah. It likes a little bit of checking, and it mixed bag on the turn. You can go for the bigger size. I think the good thing about using a bigger size is you're less inclined to get check raised. I want to actually play this fixed, and I want to see if they would have bet the river, because I wouldn't. So we go small, they call. We bet the 7. The problem is they're going to fold, right? Yeah, okay, so we're not going to find out. I would only bet 2 streets there. Hello, Fintan, good luck against this Sunrunner. What, the bot? The bot does make some strong hands. Pretty comfortable to bet my hand here again on the turn. Pure check. I don't think that's right. Obviously, it's right. If it's obviously right. Look, the sims are always right, but like to be pure check against the way people play, right? Let me see what the bot's up to. So we call, or we bet, because I think people pure check raise their 4s pretty much in game, and they check raise a decent amount of the king. So we check. And we're probably meant to raise against that size, right? I just want to check. So yeah, we raise obviously. I want to see. Can we? All right, let's see what they're calling. Yeah, so they've got like slithers of 4. Like it's not a huge amount. Mostly check raising, but I mean king 4, ace 4. I think people raise. I think people just raise these ones. Not the king 4, not the full house, but yeah. I can get behind. I can get behind a bet on the turn, but obviously the bot does not agree with me. So 9 is kind of interesting. We have some hands like 8, 9, 9, 10, maybe Jack 10 that want to check raise occasionally. Not so much though. So I don't actually think we turned enough equity. I don't think this card's good enough for me to continue barreling on. I'd be interested to see if they ever do. You know, pure check. So like, for instance, if this card had been, let's have a little look at it again. It was 45 into 76, so they're betting 66% of the time. So, if they're betting 66% of the time, I think that's a 55 or 60% defend we have to do, right? So I was probably... I went the wrong way. I did the maths the wrong way around. So I messed it up when I said it. So yeah, so say this was a 6. No, 6 we were straight. But say this is like a 3. Let's say we have a different hand. But like the cards that we want to bet in general like are 5, 6, 8, 3. These kind of like interactive cards around like the check raises. Alright? Because otherwise, like, you know, they have like the better 1 pair hands and stuff. They're the cards that can kind of swing it in our advantage. Definitely not folding here with 2 overcards and a good shot, and also potentially the best hand. So when they bet this size, I do think we can have leads on 5s because we're going to have more 5x than them. But the issue is I don't think my hand lends well to turn into a bluff right yet. So I'm just going to check. I will call one more. This might be getting a bit too sticky now. And I will check fold the river. So they had 5, 6. Just runs so good, eh? Yeah. Is there much leading on the turn? Yeah, there's like a little bit of leading, but as you can see, like there will be a lot of leading with other hands. Like it's not that leading is 8% of our strategy, it's just like 8% with this hand, right? Like look, we have a lot of 5x we want to lead. We're going to lead some 6x. We're going to lead probably a lot of 4x would be my guess. Yeah, like a lot of 4x open-end straight draws that we weren't check raising on the flop make a lot of sense to lead, and then we just go bada boom, bada bing when people call, because we just have a lot of 5x and they still call with ace highs and stuff. So I'm going to check this flop. I'm going to call this turn. I'm going to raise this river. Anyone for an all-in for 368% of the pot? Jack 10 gets there, diamonds get there. They're my most obvious hands. They're so capped when they check, though. They're so capped. So capped. And the thing about it is, even if we shove here, like we're against the bot, like they're still gonna call whatever it is, 20% of their hands against this size, maybe slightly less. I'm gonna go all in. Does it like the all in? It's there, but it's not. It's probably not the preferred play. I'm gonna play for 15 more minutes in this, and then we're gonna get going playing some poker tournaments at 4 p.m. just so everybody knows. I'm just gonna check fold. I know we. Oh, I'm still gonna just check fold. Is that okay? It is okay, bot. Thank you very much. I'm gonna do another check fold. These are good ones. These pump up the numbers. These pump up our numbers. This gets us up on the leaderboard. Where are we at? We're back up to 80%. 30 hands in. I won't be able to get up to 100 hands now, but maybe we'll do another little session when the stream's over as well. Can we do a little bit of leading up? I think it's more like 6-5-3 we want to do and 6-5-4 and stuff, whereas this one has like, they have the gutters and stuff, right? I'm gonna call. No, we're not. So there is leading. Oh, you can raise, but you can't call. Alright, so I guess against the bot again it's different. I think people will find this size and then they'll just shut down, so we just get to win a lot. I thought with the spade and the gut shot and the 2 overs we won't get to fold, but that's gonna ruin our ratio. Oh, yeah, you win. Congratulations. So I think this is, we've seen the bigger size, but I'm gonna go with the smaller one again. And the question now is whether we want to turn our hand into a bluff. If we are gonna bet, maybe we should be polarized and only betting straights. Hands up if you're bluffing it off. Hands up if you're bluffing it off. Hands up if you're bluffing it off. Go on, lads, get out of here with your ace-6. Only a 12% play. Low frequency play, that one there, ladies and gentlemen. But you know, team ATB can't stop, won't stop, and all that jazz. So check raise. Again, it prefers the bigger size. I need to maybe go. So in my sims that I run, I usually give the option of a 33% and 55% pot raise. But it doesn't. I usually any of the sims I've really run myself, it leans towards smaller sizes, except for on the super dynamic boards. So interesting, very interesting that this almost 5x has been used a lot. Something I need to certainly consider. I think I probably have some big bet in here too, but my hand's just not worth a lot of chips. And one thing that you should know about poker, there's not actually that much big betting on this board at all, right? Okay, I would have thought there was. When you have a bad hand, just try not to put too many chips in. When you've got a good hand, put loads of chips in. Alright, so our options are leading and check raising. So leading's competing with check raising, and in terms of getting chips in, check raising can get more chips in, but also what do we really want to be betting this turn with? Like super strong hands, right? So I think when we're this stacked up, we're gonna go for the triple trap. As you can see, mostly checking. River, it wants to bet small. So the reason it's doing the small bet is because when you bet this size, they're obliged to raise their ace-x, and then it's like a bet 3-bet spot. Whereas if you bet pot, they'll just call. If they double check like ace-9, they have to raise versus quarter pot. But if you bet pot, they don't. So it's the reason that you're using the smaller size is you're targeting hands like this and king highs to make them indifferent, but also then if they have the raise, like you have hands that you can 3-bet. So that would be my understanding of that spot. I think it's going to be a mix. I'm going to bet this time. Yeah, it's like 57 check. No small betting, which I think makes sense on 9-6-5. You don't really want to be betting quarter pot. It just doesn't make sense, right? And we want to check raise king X on this board a lot, but I think king deuce is at 60 big blinds is going to be okay to check. But on a 6, we will slide in a little bit of leading. So my logic for leading would be our opponent c-bets like pretty much the entire deck. So if we look at their strategy on the flop, right? So check. Now I'm not like obviously like I just think that my lead won't lose a lot of chips, but obviously it's not the optimal play because that's what DTO says, and DTO is just going to get it right. Obviously on this river card we get the bet very large. We would have got I would have bet very large on like a 3 as well. So now the question is whether we want to go for a check raise, which I actually think might be pretty nice. We're definitely not betting less than pot, but you gotta. The thing about betting 130% is competing with check raise, and I think our hand is just such a very clean check raise that I'm gonna go for it. No, that's a mistake. Just likes 130%. Yeah, okay, that's fine. You just don't want to let them away with it. Do you know what? I was probably influenced by the fact I knew they tens. But evaluation. The reason I wanted to lead the turn is because if you look at this, look, they bet the whole deck, right? Look, they bet 100% of their range, right? When you call, you don't have any shit. It's also on a 6, which is a reasonably good card for us. So like, when you like just call the flop and then lead the turn, like they have to defend like so much of their range that people just won't be able to find. Like they're not going to get to fold any ace highs, they're not going to get to fold like some jack tens, and they're not going to be able to fold like queen jacks and stuff, whereas people would just overfold them. So obviously I'm not saying it's optimal because the bot is going to be right, but I just don't think it's going to lose chips, and I think it's like a pretty nice spot to lead. So I'm not saying, look, listen, I'm not saying it's the best play. I'm just saying that, like I said, I don't think they'll lose money. I'm going to bet bigger. Just pure bet big. Start taking the piss out of that range advantage. Don't get to fold a pair for a quarter pot. No, sir. And just happy to showdown. Very happy to showdown. Unfortunately, we do not win. And here we are going to check raise. So, if I had like king jack, I would always check raise. But against this size, I'm wondering, do we like... There it says ace high boards are more polar size when the big blind raises. That does make sense, but I still just think that people over bet them. So when we 3x raise, it forces them into defending awkward parts of their range because a lot of people bet them for range, if that makes sense. I'm gonna raise, even though I won't be surprised if we just went to call here. Yeah, so it's like a strong mix, right? So it's kind of dealer's choice. You do what you want. You're not gonna be making a mistake either way. I have to say that this new range explorer, the way you can click on also the bot's range, like I think it's lovely. I mean, obviously we're raising. I would tend to use this size in game. I'm just gonna go with the size I would use. Yeah, so it just likes the bigger raise. Okay. I mean, I can understand why this is like essentially like if we were in position on this board, we would want to overbet because our hand needs so much overprotection. But that would be against a big blinds range, which is a little bit more defined. But once someone bets 25% on this board, they're kind of telegraphing that they don't really have a strong hand too often. So we get to put a lot of chips in. 7's interesting. Our opponent definitely can have a chunk of 7x, but they also have a lot of draws. I think we should actually check though. And if they check back, I'm gonna block. I think block's okay. Still get called by like 8s and 9s and stuff. So I just want to see what the bot is betting the 1.5. So like if you look, the 10x, okay, so they are betting a chunk of 10x still, which I actually didn't expect it to be this much for this size. Let me just see. We can't see the other size, right? Okay. Let's do what time is it? Let's do another few minutes of hands here. This one I would check mostly. With these suits, it's kind of tempting to bet though. I don't think I can just call. It seems too nitty. So flop, you can see we do have some betting for multiple sizes. I think that's a product of the suits that we have. Just want to check ace king. Yeah, so CR suits are just like the best suits to bet, right? It's a 22% compared to the rest of them. Being like in around the 9 to 15%. So that makes sense. That one would be a little bit more frequent. Check. Brit mad, flop top pair, and you're just checking all the way down, but it's one of those boards where it's a little bit dicey and a board we're going to get attacked a lot, so we don't really want to size up on, and betting small doesn't achieve a lot, in my opinion. So we do just check down 3 times, which is, it's a bit weird, but it's all right. We're going to size up here. We are going to bet the turn as if we want to bet geometrically, which will be the 87%. I think it's not that thin yet. If we get check shove, that's pretty disgusting. And on that river card, I am going to check. Our opponent has Jack X of spades. Our opponent can have Jack 10. Our opponent can have Jack Queen. So I don't really feel like we have an opportunity to do anything other than the line we took. As you can see, it's just not a mixed spot. You know, we just have an easy big bet on the flop. Turn, when they don't check raise, we still want to put a lot of chips in, and river just becomes a little dicey. I just want to check on the turn what kind of hands is our opponent calling in terms of the Queen Jack and Jack 10 region. So you can see Jack 10 still calling. It is just spades though. Queen 10 is calling a lot more regardless of suit. Obviously Queen 10 spades never folding. So yeah, that's what I mean. I just think they just have a reasonable amount of Jack X, and aren't really going to call a worse hand on the river. It's just going to be chops they call. So not a lot of good to come from betting, in my opinion. So we've got amazing suits to barrel, but I think King Jack isn't that. If you're going to barrel King Jack here, like this is the King Jack you barrel. But like getting check shoved here is like a bit shit. The suits are just too good to me. I'm going to barrel this, but I won't be surprised if it's pure check. So yeah, it's just pure check. I mean, I knew all the other King Jacks to be probably not betting, but like, I assume King Jack's just pure check everywhere, right? Yeah, King Jack, King Jack. Yeah. There's like a little sliver of it somewhere. I thought, like, yeah, I mean, isn't this the suits I had? Did I not have these exact suits? Did I have it? I had it this way. Like, how am I supposed to know? I thought there would be a slither of betting with these suits, and as you can see, there is if they're reversed. I guess it's the difference in the actual flush draw and the backdoor flush draw. Yeah. Okay. That's a little bit annoying that I got it wrong, but it is what it is. We're on 78%. Could be better. Could be worse. I'm gonna do 3 more hands, and we're gonna get them all right. Small bet. One out of 1. All right, I'll tell you what. We'll go until we get one wrong. I think small bet will be fine. Probably could introduce some big betting with some hands on this board too, though, for sure. Just want to make sure. Just want to see what kind of hands we are betting big with. As you can see, like the ace kings, the ace queens of this world make a lot of sense. Backdoor flush draws are gonna start pumping some chips in there as well. So yeah, I mean, as long as you're not just always autopiloting the small bet, I think it's going to be very reasonable. Definitely not folding. Question is, do I ever want to start using this as a bluff? Let's find out. Yes, we do. Mostly calling though. All right, we're going until we get one wrong. So we might be streaming this for the next 9 hours. This hurts. I don't know if it's right. No, it's not right. It's not right. It's too tight. All right, not a nice note to end it on, getting an actual mistake rather than just like a misstep. But yeah, we have the backdoor flush draw. We have the backdoor flush draw. And the backdoor straight draw against quarter pot. It's probably pretty pathetic on my point that I got it wrong, but we are going to play some poker tournaments. I hope that you enjoyed that. If you want to check out DTO, as you can see down below, you can download it in the App Store or you can get it on Google Play. You can also play a desktop version, which is what I'm using. The Super High Roller tier will give you access to everything you've seen here with the range explorers. And of course, it's not just these spots you can do versus the big blind. You can see that there is 3-bet spots, heads-up spots, ICM, limps, single rates, and if you have any ideas of what you'd like to see or any feedback from what is coming, do put a little message in the comments, because the DTO team is extremely flexible. They're always trying to improve the product, and we've already seen a couple of changes just from our streams. I would like when it hits, when the call all-in option is there, I would like if it also told you how much it is, because I don't like having to do maths because it's 2020 and I'm lazy. All right, thank you very much. We will do another one of these soon.